Hi, so now we've got our pockets all made, ready to go onto our insert for that project bag, downloadable pattern from GourmetQuilter.com. And I'm just going to show you now how to position the pockets, in particular onto the back side, which is, well, I'm calling it the back side, it's the outside maybe, which is going to have the clear pockets top and bottom and the mesh pockets there, and it's the one that's got the fast to fuse behind the fabric. However, I also want to show you that I'd like to have some markings for the centre area on both pieces so that they can both be done at the same time. So where we've got this fast to fuse, where we've got that join and that narrow piece in the middle there, we actually would be quite helpful to have a line drawn on the front there and on the back. If you want to measure it in, although you can probably feel it, it's going to be 13.5 inches from the edge, and they're 1 inch apart for the two lines, and again 13.5 inches out there, and also a centre line up the middle. And we want those same markings on the front, and that's because we're going to be using that centre area to stitch some things down on, and we need to know where the centre is. So I've come along, if you use your board to help you line it all up, I've come along 13.5 inches from the edge, and I've already ruled my lines. I've used my ruler to help me line everything up. If I line up with the board, I can use the ruler, everything kind of is a little bit easier. I've got a drawn line there. I also want one right down the centre, so just come over 1/2 inch and then come over another 1/2 inch for that third line. So you've got 3 lines, 1/2 inch in between, and it should be another 13.5 inches out to the side. And the same thing on this one, and those lines occur where those creases or where the gaps are, except for the centre one, of course, on the piece with the faster fuse. So I'm just going to pop this piece, this is the front one with the soft and stable, I'm going to put it to one side at the moment and just talk about positioning these pockets onto here. So if you look at this is what we're hoping to achieve. So we've got, these are the larger pockets in general. I've got them all mixed up here, and why wouldn't I? So coming down below the centre line, we've got a mesh pocket here. So that's this one. So if we say that this is the top, and we'll put a little clip up there so we know that's the top. We've already got our pockets bound and ready to go. I'm going to line up this raw edge of this top piece that we had put on top of the zippers with that centre line. So that's what that line's all about, to help you line up for your pocket pieces. I'm going to pop a couple of clips in to hold this in place, and then I can come back and sew them afterwards. I'll position them first. So that's that one. So we've got the mesh pocket sitting there. We're going to put a clear plastic pocket down here. Now one of them has already a bound lower edge. We want the one without the bound lower edge, and we also want to trim off 1/2 inch off the bottom of that plastic. So I've already done that. So you need to take off 1/2 inch of the clear plastic, and then it will be exactly right to sit in the right place. And that's going to line up with the lower raw edge with everything else there. We might want to pop a couple of clips in. You want to make sure that things are sitting fairly central. We will be trimming this down, so if the edges are not absolutely exact, that's not a problem. And so then we're going to flip this little mesh pocket up and sit that over the top of that piece of the pocket there, and we can clip that in place. We're going to stitch that down shortly. I thought we might get them all put into position, and then we can go away and do all the stitching. So you may feel that you want to pop a pin in there. It's not going to be easy because it's on that faster fuse, but it might just help to pin it together a little bit like that. So we started off on that centre line, we've put the mesh pocket, we've put a clear plastic pocket. Then we've got the other clear plastic pocket, the one with the binding. That's going to go up to this top edge. So the raw edge is here above the zip. Can go right along there, and we can pop that in so that all lines up with the top edge. And then we need to have one of the mesh pockets also doesn't have a binding on the lower side, and that's the one we want because that's going to sit in here. Now that's going to sit with its raw edge next to the raw edge, which is on that centre line that we drew in the middle there. So if you line that up so that they just sit next to each other there, that will be good. We want to lift this up and set the raw edge underneath the edge of your clear plastic. Again, we're going to position that with some clips here so that it all stays together and at each end. And then we can go away and we can stitch all those in place. So what we need to do with that is you can do a line of stitching at the top if you want to, but that will actually end up being trimmed away. What we do want to do though is stitch down these bound edges that we've done. These two that are here, we want to stitch right over the top of the stitching that we've already done when we put the binding on, and then another line of stitching close to the other folded edge, and that will encase the top of the next pocket really nicely. Same thing on this one. So if you do that, everything will stay in place. You may want to just do a little holding stitch down the sides just to hold the sides in place. If you do that, bring your zipper pull in before you stitch there, because if you stitch down through there with a zipper pull out the side, you won't be able to use your zipper. So bring those in before you stitch anything to the sides. We will be trimming the sides a little bit, so you can sew and it may end up being trimmed off, but if it helps hold everything in place, that would be an idea of something to do. And then this centre line here is going to get covered up. We had previously done some strips that we folded the raw edges into the middle and left them flat with the raw edges in. So this is also going to be positioned right over that. So those two lines that we drew, or that actually are the fold lines, this will stitch pretty much into those lines there, because this is 1 inch wide. And so that's going to go over the top. So stitch your two bindings, 2 rows of stitching on each, and then there's a line either side of that, and you'll find that most things will stay in place quite nicely for you. And then we'll come and do the other side pockets in the next video.